question was to talk a little bit about what the new research has found about the hidden brain and suicide bombers. When we think about suicide terrorism, invariably we think about the individual personalities of the suicide bombers. We ask, what is it about these individual people that prompts them to be willing to kill themselves for a cause? Very often we pick up on religion, religious fanaticism as being an explanatory factor for suicide terrorism. When you study the matter systematically and scientifically, however, we find that our intuitions are not supported by the evidence. It turns out that religious belief is not only not a necessary cause for suicide terrorism, it is not even it's not a sufficient cause either. There are many suicide bombers going back 50 or 100 years who came from entirely secular backgrounds or even atheistic backgrounds and had nothing to do with religion. And a lot of the research that has looked at the phenomenon of suicide terrorism from a scientific perspective has looked less at the psychological makeup of the people and the specific elements of their ideological background, and looked at what's common between suicide bombing across the ages. So if you look at what the Japanese did in the closing days of World War II against the Allies, or if you look at what the Sri Lankan Tamil Tigers did in the 1980s, or if you look at the use of suicide terrorism in a variety of theaters today, what we find is that the process by which people become suicide bombers is common across these different cultural and national contexts. Suicide bombers tend to be in situations where they are largely cut off from the outside world for a variety of different factors, some deliberate, some not deliberate. And it is small group psychology, the ability of small groups to rewrite the norms of human behavior that make the phenomenon of suicide terrorism possible. So when we ask how is it people can do these abominable things, what we are doing is we're examining the phenomenon from the outside, from outside the tunnel. What we are often not able to understand is that within the tunnel of the creation of the suicide bomber, the norms have been turned upside down. And so the people who are volunteering to be suicide bombers are not doing it because they're evil or depraved. They're doing it in the same way that young people who you and I know might want to be rock stars or might want to be book authors. It wins them the spotlight. It wins them attention. The norms have been turned upside down in the suicide bomber's tunnel. And once you turn the norms upside down, you actually have to do very little to go out and recruit people because they will come to you.